So there's been talk leading up to the rematch between Ankalaev and Alex Pereira that Alex Pereira is a lot more locked in this time round. Now, is that true? Perhaps it seems like honestly it is true. Not to say that Pereira wasn't locked in the first time round, but when you're champion, of course you're going to have added media obligations, and that might have been the case. That might have been the difference because let's have it right. That was a close fight. Pereira v Ankalaev one was competitive. I don't think Pereira won that fight. But there are some people that left that fight thinking, Pereira should have won the decision. I think Ankalaev done enough to win 3 rounds, which is enough to win a 5-round fight, as long as you avoid, 2 10-8 rounds, which he did. So I think Ankalaev deserved to win that fight, but it was competitive, and Pereira definitely had his moments and definitely was able to look more impressive than what people may have been expecting in the wrestling, particularly. Of course, Ankalaev isn't an out-and-out wrestler the same way a Khabib is, even the same way an Islam is, or any of these guys. Ankalaev primarily is a striker, but obviously because of his name, I think people were expecting him to sort of wrestle Pereira, and he didn't do that. But also Pereira showed good anti-wrestling as well and wasn't really able to be held down. Ankalaev, for the most part, was winning that fight using his striking, to be honest. He was winning his fight using that striking, but going into the rematches are very rarely the same as what they were in the first fight. They normally aren't the same. So to expect the exact same fight from both guys this time, I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I do favour Poatan to maybe have some more success, but also understanding Poatan, he is older. He's not got any younger from that last fight, and also you can't teach an old dog new tricks as well. There has got to be a bit of that. But that being said, Pereira's looking crisp on the pads. He's got a very specific style. Of course, he's quite stiff in the striking, but it works for him. It's a style that's effective for him. So you've got to respect it. But yeah, I'd be curious to know what you guys think. Do you think Pereira can show the necessary improvements to win against Ankalaev in a rematch? Or do you think in the rematch it's just going to be more of the same? Now, like I said, people do think Pereira is looking more locked in because you're not hearing all this Sharma talk. You're not hearing all the media hype around Pereira this time around. That shouldn't really affect preparation, but we know these guys are humans and, often it does. In which case, if Pereira has been given, more time, more resource to be training and get even better, then you got to think, okay, if he wasn't locked in the first time round and he had a competitive fight, if he is locked in this time, then, he might have enough in the tank to actually take this victory away from Ankalaev and get his belt back. But I don't fancy it. I think Ankalaev's capable of him in of himself providing the different enough looks against Pereira to keep Pereira guessing and ultimately win another 5-round decision. I don't see him stop. I don't see Ankalaev stopping Pereira, but there's a part of me that wouldn't be surprised where in these games, in boxing, in MMA, you get old overnight. And Pereira's he's a guy who's probably not been in loads of wars in MMA, but has got loads of miles on the clock in terms of kickboxing and MMA and training camps as well. So yeah, I would be super curious to know what you guys think of this fight. Do you think Ankalaev can win in the rematch, or do you think Pereira's going to get his belt back? I'll be curious to know what you guys think in the comments below. And yeah, another episode of the Seth Solo Side Quest in the bag, and I'm out. Peace.